Over the past couple of years, I keep looking back at videos that I've taken, and it's such a good way for me to remember how a certain season in my life felt and how it was. And so I just want to remember the process of planning our wedding together. And so to do that, I've decided to make a couple of videos over the course of the year that it's taking us to plan our wedding. Today I kind of wanted to remember what it was like to go venue shopping, so I thought I would take us through an outline of everything that we were looking for in a venue, everything that we found, different trends that we were seeing as we were going to tour different places, and then kind of show you what it was like at each of those venues. We looked at 5 different venues that we really considered to be a good option for us. There were a handful of others that we looked at online, but for one reason or another, we ended up not going there. Some of the goals throughout this process for us were, first and foremost, to have a place to spend a long weekend with family. Oftentimes I see people saying, well, we had a wonderful wedding, but I wish that it was more than one day because it went by so quickly. So one of the things that we were looking for was a place where we could spend a weekend with our family and it be a longer event. Obviously, cost was a huge factor here. We tried to not limit out places that we thought were a little over budget or that we thought were a little bit not too cheap, but they were inexpensive and they didn't offer a lot. So we tried to be open-minded about cost and what they included, because as we went through this process, we really found that some places offered a lot for the price that they were charging for the venue, and some places it was basically you just rent the venue and you have to do everything yourself. So the very first venue that we went and looked at was Emerald Ridge Farm outside of Asheville, North Carolina. We went and visited in November of 2022, November of last year, and we really loved this venue. Whenever we went, I remember asking ourselves, do we even need to go and look at another venue? A lot of different things were included in the venue rental fee of this particular venue. So I believe that they did all of the setup and breakdown. They had the decor closet available, like I mentioned earlier. And then something else that we really loved was that there was a house on site where we could, like, the rental of the house was included in the venue fee. So we could have the rehearsal dinner on the Friday evening, we could have the bridal party stay in that house, or we could have family, whoever could stay in the house overnight. We had the house all day Saturday, of course, and then for Saturday night into Sunday morning as well. That's something that we really loved. And this venue and the way that it was set up, with there being a place to stay on site, really sort of highlighted how much we wanted that. At the beginning of this process, we knew that we wanted this to be an overnight, or excuse me, an all weekend experience, but we didn't really identify yet that we wanted places for people to stay on site. The third place that we visited that we really loved was called Splendor Valley Events out in Leicester, North Carolina, way out in western North Carolina. This venue was so pretty. It had the mountain views that I was looking for. It was not a weekend stay type of venue, but that's okay because there was lots of Airbnbs in the area and it would have been really easy to make our wedding into a weekend event at this venue. When we went, some of the highlights that we really liked were, again, the decor closet being available, the setup and breakdown being available. One of the things that we didn't like, though, was that the inside wasn't really, like, there were places to get ready on the inside of the venue, but it just wasn't the weekend vibe that we were going for. When we first went, we wanted to consider it because it was so much less expensive than some of the other places that had like weekend events that we were looking at. We could have made this place work. It just didn't feel right when we went. The owners were perfectly lovely. There was this beautiful view of a cross over a pond with the mountains in the backdrop. Something else that I didn't think about at the time, was that we were venue shopping in November, December, and January. So all of these places were not, there's nothing in bloom. It wasn't really green. It wasn't really pretty and flourishing like it is in the summer. And I think that that really helped us envision how the venue would be. We are going to get married in July of 2024. And while it would have been nice to see these venues in the summer, I felt like it was really good to see them in the winter because you can kind of see how they look at their worst. Not that they were bad, but I just thought that that was an interesting component of this, that we're getting married, now we know, in July, which is the heat of the summer, the middle of the summer, everything's in bloom, but we were venue shopping in the winter. So that was kind of a funny thing that ended up happening. All right, so the fourth venue that we went and looked at was Brown Mountain Beach Resort in Lenoir, North Carolina. This place, I'll just go ahead and say this is where we ended up booking. Brown Mountain Beach Resort is in the Wilson Creek area of North Carolina, right outside of Lenoir, and it is a weekend venue rental. So the venue is available from Thursday evening until Sunday mid-morning. And there's a handful of yurts and cabins on site for families, for our family and for friends to stay in. The venue is right on the river, which is so beautiful. We're gonna have our ceremony out on the beach, and then we're gonna have our reception dinner up in the Rock Pavilion area. It's like an older historical building, and then have dancing and drinks outside, the rest of the reception outside. One of the things that we loved most about the venue was how friendly the owner was. We really connected with her when we were there. Lots of good conversation. So like I said, we'll do the ceremony out on this beach area, the bridal salon where we'll get ready was super cute. And there's also, I mentioned the yurts and the cabins on site. A lot of them have a full kitchen in them. And I think almost all of them, I believe all but one or two of the cabins that are not on the river have hot tubs outside on the back deck. So each of them have a private hot tub, which is just, oh, it's so nice. I cannot wait. I really hope that, well, I know that all of our friends and family will just absolutely love staying in these places. The place outdoors for the reception is also super pretty. It's really open and organic feeling. It's not really like stiffly decorated, if that makes sense. It's very it's a very outdoorsy place, and Eric and I are very outdoorsy people. We love to be outside and go hiking and be near the river, and this is just a very fitting place for our lifestyle. They also have a petting farm, or they have like animals, farm animals on the far end of the property, which was just kind of a fun perk. One of the things that I said we liked the most about Brown Mountain Beach Resort was, one, that it was a weekend place, and two, everything that was included. So in our venue fee included is the venue for our exclusive use for the weekend. So our friends and family will be booking their yurts or cabins on their own. That's something that they pay for. That's not included in the venue fee. But the entire venue is only our party all weekend. So that's something that we love. We don't want to rent a venue and then there be other people there. That was something that was super important to us, because it seems like a lot of venues, while you're paying the venue fee, there could be another wedding there at that time. So that's definitely something that you want to look for if that's important to you. There's just a lot of space available to be able to utilize, which was what we were looking for. While Brown Mountain was on the more expensive end of our budget for a venue, I am happy that we went ahead and booked it, because it really is giving us the space that we wanted to be creative with what we were doing with what we wanted for in our venue. Something else that we love with Brown Mountain Beach is that we're allowed to provide our own alcohol, which was really important because a lot of times when you go and book a bartender service for a wedding, you have to pay the premium price for the alcohol that you're having the bartender serve, as well as the bartenders. So being able to do BYOB at Brown Mountain, in addition to them providing their own bartenders as a part of the venue fee, was a huge selling point for us. All right, so the fifth and final venue. After we went and looked at Brown Mountain Beach, there wasn't necessarily there's a part, we knew that we were going to book there, but I felt like there was still some stones left unturned with venues in our local area. Someone recommended Luna's Trail Farm up in Stokes County, which is in a rural part of North Carolina. So we went and visited there the day after we went and visited Brown Mountain Beach just to see what it was about. They did have a beautiful venue space though. They had houses available for rent in addition to the venue fee that you could have your wedding party or other family and friends stay in. They also had a little hotel. They had a couple of hotel rooms. It was like structured like a hotel room available for rent for an additional fee. Overall, the venue was gorgeous. They had these big bay windows that were pouring, like the view was pouring out, and then they had the ability to open up those doors so that you could kind of get like an open air feel for the venue. So I really loved that. You could almost have like up to 300 people seated in their venue space, and then the ceremony outside and people still seated indoors. It was set up really nicely. They just had really, really big, open, airy feel to it, which I really, really loved. We tried as hard as we could to vet the venue before going and looking to make sure that it had all of those things that we were looking for. A place to spend the weekend with family, decor being available, being able to provide our own alcohol, having freedom with the vendors, and having setup and breakdown included. Those were the things that we were highly valuing, and all of the places that we went and looked at had those things. Overall, it was really fun, a fun process to go and look at these places and kind of dream for the day about what our wedding could look like. So yeah, that's all I have for now. Thanks for watching.